The judge who presided over Donald Trump's criminal hush money trial in New York has postponed his sentencing. Judge Juan Merchan approved the delay after the former president's lawyers asked for more time to review the potential impact of the Supreme Court's immunity decision. That came down yesterday. His sentencing was originally scheduled for next week, and now it will take place on September 18th. Our own Robert Costa is here with me now covering all of this. Bob, good to see you.
Good to see you.
So this delay is significant. I mean, it was the original sentencing date was supposed to come just days before the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. What's the impact here? It will still happen before the election.
Well, for me personally, it's about whether I can get my money back for my hotel reservation on July 11th, because that was the sentencing date for former President Donald Trump, now in September. So this changes the entire political calendar. Both Republicans and Democrats I've been speaking to have been bracing for weeks for July 11th to be a significant day, because it would decide whether Trump would be sentenced to house arrest, probation, or even a jail sentence that could start as early as this summer or even this fall. Now, all of that is pushed back. Now, it's not pushed beyond November. It's just pushed back until September. So this is potentially for the campaign not a July surprise, but a September surprise. But because of the immunity question hovering over this campaign, there's no real guarantee this is still going to happen in September. The judge could rule that in some way there still needs to be a deliberation legally about whether Trump can be sentenced in New York in terms of whether something's an official act or not, because Judge Tanya Chutkan on a federal level will be working through what's an official act or not on the January 6th case that could impact what happens in New York. So we're in a fluid moment legally and politically.
Yeah, and if that sentencing does happen in September, it will be right around the time early voting starts in some of these states, too. So that will be interesting to watch. You mentioned the immunity case. I want to ask you a little bit about that. Obviously, Democrats are, criticizing this court decision, but I'm curious what this ruling may mean for a Trump administration, what he could do with this kind of immunity going forward.
Trump was elected in 2016. I covered his transition closely, and it was evident that he was not familiar with the apparatus of the federal government to any real extent. And he brought in some advisors who had some seasoning in terms of managing the federal government, but it took him 3 to 4 years to fully understand the scope of the federal government, the powers of the executive. So if he now comes into power, he's not the Donald Trump who came down that escalator and really didn't have a grasp of the government and governing. He is someone who knows what it means to be president and to have presidential power. He's also an advocate for presidential power. So we're looking potentially at a presidency, a second Trump term, where you would have expansive use of presidential power, especially in the wake of this ruling.
And what has the Trump campaign's reaction been to this ruling? Are they kind of pushing that as a message, or are they kind of letting that rest for a bit?
It's a bit of a political and policy dance for them. They know that there are groups like Project 2025 that are outlining potential steps the Trump administration could take on different fronts, but at the same time, they're not fully embracing that because they want to be a bit coy, I'm told by Trump advisors, about what exactly Trump would do in his presidency. But we do already see that Trump is signaling a real use of executive power. The Supreme Court, of course, has given him some power. Maybe Trump would have another appointment as president. But one of his key policy proposals is a mass deportation, as he calls it, of undocumented people in this country. And that would be a significant use of executive power, because it would possibly involve the use of the military and other federal agencies to remove people, remove families from the United States. Yeah,
it seems like all of these areas are where Democrats can kind of seize on, at least at this point, especially after the president's poor debate performance. Speaking of that debate performance, I know a lot of attention has been focused on the president, of course, but, Donald Trump did have lots of lies, exaggerations during the debate as well. Has his team been reacting to that? How have they been talking about this debate? I mean, it was interesting. I was with him, covering him on Friday after the debate in Virginia, and he made a point to say this is not about age, it's about competence. And I'm curious how they are kind of playing this out, or are they kind of laying low and letting the attention focus on Biden?
It's more of the latter. They see the debate, in their view, as a clean win, and they don't feel the need to have Trump hitting the drum on that issue. They're letting Democrats, in the views of some of my sources, go to war with each other over the debate and its consequences. And they're happy to watch all of that play out from their side of things and prepare for what's now most important for them, which is the vice presidential selection.
Right, and we will stay tuned for that around the convention, perhaps earlier. Bob Costa, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Caitlin.
And a quick programming note, join us for a special Independence Day edition of America Decides. Our CBS Reports documentary team went out into the field to talk to voters behind the polls. This half-hour documentary is followed by an America Decides panel about what it all means for the election in November. That airs this Thursday, July 4th at 5 p.m. Eastern.